And here on the Now Morning Show this morning, we are celebrating World Television Day. And so joining me is our Honorable Minister, Minister Symon de Nobriga, who is the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister Communications, and also Nicole Duke-Westfield, Director on our TTT Limited board. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Kimberly. Morning, Nicole.
Good
morning, Rawkus.
Good morning, Minister.
And of course, morning to all the viewers.
Of course, especially on this amazing day. I mean, TTT would have celebrated 60 years this year. Yeah. I mean, what is the role of TV, Minister? And I'm coming to you first, especially for us as a state organization.
Well, first of all, I think that when you talk about TTT and the country sort of have grown at the same time. So the growth of TTT has also mirrored the country's own experiences as we have grown as a nation. I think that that state media has, obviously, and we know that, state media has a very, very important role, and it is really around bringing the information to a population that other media houses would not necessarily carry, simply because it does not necessarily fit with their bottom line aspirations. Right, so I was on another station, and that would have been described, and it has been described in other places, as propaganda. I don't see it as that. I think that that informing a population is a critical role for state media. One of the platforms that they use is television, and television has been an integral tool in disseminating information to families, to communities, to nations globally. And we have seen how important that is in driving decision making. Yeah. You know, so I think state media, while it's important, we are also talking about the role of TTT, the station, as well as television, and how critical that has been. And I think, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the very first broadcast in Trinidad was carried on TTT, and it was the raising of our own national flag, you know, heralding our introduction to the world as a nation. Yeah. I mean, they could only have one first, and what a first to have.
Definitely an amazing first that we have. Nicole, I want to jump across to you, because you know, from when we raised that flag, Trinidad and Tobago flag, to now, we've come a long way. What are some of the things that you would say as we could start with state media, but what are we proud of, and what should we be proud of?
I think there's a lot for us to be incredibly proud of. Television has given us an opportunity to see ourselves, to see who we are. There's a Rawkus on television today, but there was an Alison Hennessy. You know, there was a Celicia Ali. There were people who we grew up with, and I don't want to date myself, but we see ourselves on television every single day, and that's critical. When you talk about building a culture, building a cultural identity, identifying who we are as a people, those are some of the things that I think television has been very critical and pivotal over the last 60 years in building a nation. And when you look at it now, yes, the world is changing, things are transforming. The television has got actually a little smaller. We carry it around in our pockets and in our handbags. And so we now have a great opportunity to bring that set that sits in a living room or in a bedroom or on a kitchen counter, bring that together with the cell phone, the mobile, and bring those platforms together so that everywhere that we are, anywhere that we are in the world, we are seeing ourselves.
Nicole, you can jump in here, or Minister, you can also jump in. There was a thrust for TTT to put more local content on the television. Why do you think we would have had that as our mandate, being who we are?
Well, I want to tell you, use the right word, mandate. When this new board was put together, and we met as a team, I had very few mandates to give them, but one of those was that we must continue to drive the TTT as a platform for, as a home for, as a supporter of local content, because Nicole pointed it out. We have all grown up, well, I suppose, Nicole, I'm also dating myself with you, but we grew up at a time where we saw excellence on television that looked and sounded like us.
Exactly.
And I think that there is a necessity for that. I think that as we grow, 60 years might seem like a lot, but in terms of being a nation, we are babes, eh? So we've gone through this phase where as we were growing, we wanted to see what was out there. We saw everything. We saw all the other content that came to us. But now we're starting to understand what our place is in the world. And in order to do that, we must restart seeing ourselves, and TTT has done that. I suppose the more things change, the more they stay the same. And seeing 12 and under on TTT again, seeing little children being able to express themselves, to show creativity and the excellence of this nation, and being a platform for other children to see that, for parents to see that, that to me is the genesis, a rebirth of reimagining ourselves, because we get to see excellence that looks and sounds like us.
Now, as we look towards the other station as well, TTT has that unique in that we live for local. But is it that we ever see ourselves competing with the other media organizations?
I think no. I think honestly, it is competition.
Yes.
We are in business. Minister would, yes, one of the mandates is local content, but the minister will also say, okay, what have you done for me lately, right? So there is, at the end of the day, there is a conversation that we must have about being competitive. But being competitive is not separate and apart from also representing who we are and being who we are. We can be local, we can be competitive, and we can be all of those things, at least in my estimation. And I think that is what makes it even more exciting, because you're looking for the opportunities and you're trying to find ways, how can we do this better? How can we be more competitive? I think one of the things that we are really excited about is the opportunity, and I'm going to make a shameless plug here. There's an opportunity for corporate Trinidad and Tobago to step into the place where 12, to support 12 and under and other programs like 12 and under. When you look at the excitement around these children, when you look at how much effort has been put into their performances, you know that they are competitive. So if they are competitive at 9 and 10 and 11, why can't we be to support them?
And that's one of the things I wanted to touch on next, is how do we get corporate Trinidad to say, all right, this is not just state media, but this is actually local content. How do we get people to say, all right, even though it's competition, we are competing for the best content, right? At the end of the day, is who do I want to watch on TV, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the afternoon, whether it's in the nighttime. How do we get corporate Trinidad to say, you know what, I see the investment required, and I don't expect the government alone to be investing in this?
And I think that there are several aspects to that conversation. One is about excellence. The minister talked about that. We have to consistently strive for excellence in everything. I think the other aspect of the conversation is to be bold and to really sit down and say, okay, this is the plan. It's not just about, well, support TTT because it's local and because it's Trinidad and Tobago. No, it is about being a consistently competitive organization where you get value for money as well. At the end of the day, we must be able to have real economic conversations, economic discussions, while at the same time demonstrating that we are able to put forth our best. And when you turn on your television set on the morning, that's your expectation as a viewer. And I think we bring that. I believe we bring that. So once we consistently do that, I think, you build it and they will come.
Well, I mean, we're still here. We're still here, so we bring in something.
Here we are. Wow.
But one of the things that you mentioned just now was competition, right? And we mentioned local competition, but realistically, we're competing with cable.
Yes.
Right? So we're competing with these international stations that have this international budget. How do we expect local content to match up? So,
tying up a couple of things that have been asked there, right? One about competition. No, I do not see us in the traditional sense in competition with anyone, because I think TTT has a mandate that is different to everyone. All right. So if it is that you try to compete, I think that you'll be moving away from your mandate. Secondly, I think that we are also now in very, very exciting times for media on a whole, and I think that that we need to start seeing our brand as not just a local brand, not just appealing to the 1.4 million people that exist in this country, but also how do we see ourselves as a global brand? How do we see that uniqueness that is inherently Trinbagonian as being something that the world wants to see? And I think that as we come out of what we've seen for the last 2 years, we're starting to see this sort of global village where Burna Boy sits in his Afrobeat space and appeals and is not only appeals to a Caribbean market, but is driving global music trends. How do we see our own selves as being able, through our own expression, the expression that is only ours, to also drive the world's perception of Trinidad, of the Caribbean, and to influence trends, influence the world going forward. So that is the first space. I think that as we try to be competitive in terms of a financial aspect, I think it's critical for us to say, let us strive for quality, and the rest will come. Let us strive to be unique in the space, and the rest will come. Let us understand our importance, and the rest will come. And even as we do that, then you don't see yourselves in competition with cable or with anything. You see yourself as sitting in a space where nobody else could do what you do. So everybody else has to play catch up with TTT at that point. So I think that is where we are.
I just love how Minister says see yourself, and I'm going to put a shameless plug here. I also work on a program called See Yourself for TTT, so you have to check in with that.
Yeah, get your votes in.
I have to. But Minister, today is World Television Day. What is TTT doing? What is the ministry doing? I mean, how are we commemorating such an important day?
We are celebrating it as only OPM Communications can. You would the viewers will not see, but there's a lineup behind the cameras here.
They will see soon enough.
We are speaking about the importance of television as a medium.
Yeah.
We are speaking about how important it is to acknowledge its role in getting us to where we are, how important it is that we reimagine television as a concept and not just the box that we all grew up with. I mean, Nicole and I, not the two of you all would know, them old Zenith televisions that is 4 foot deep and 3 feet wide.
I had a big back, sir. I had a big back TV with UHF and thing you had to turn to get it done. But I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
So we are celebrating that. We are through our social media platforms, through television. Of course, it'd be very ironic if we were only promoting television on social media, but we are on the medium itself. Talking about how important it is. Yeah. And I'm hoping that it's not just today, but during the week, we continue to have these conversations, memories, talking about how television impacted you, growing up with Bobby Thomas, Neil Giuseppe, all the other players on TTT, Alison Hennessy, Dateline, Scouting for Talent, Mastana Bahar, Indian Variety, Party Time, Ricky Tiki, 12 on Under, Team Talent.
Everything playing
and all.
Yeah. Well, that's all before my time.
So he says, so Minister says. But before we go, I mean, Nicole, any closing thoughts, anything you want viewers to know as well?
I just want to say, it's great to recognize, to stop and recognize today, to put a plug and to put a full stop on where we have come from, but also to look forward. I think it's important for us as a country to recognize that, we in the thing too. Television has been with us for quite some time, and it continues to be part of our growing, of our birth, of our expansion. And I think that we need to recognize that it's not just about the box in the room, but it's about how we have been able to really shape and form our culture and our cultural experiences.
I wanna just tag in on that, because according to the UN, World Television Day is not so much about the celebration of the tool itself, but about the philosophy that it represents.
Yeah.
It says that television represents a symbol for communication and globalization in the contemporary world.
Yeah.
So, Minister, your closing thoughts?
I think that as we sit in these exciting times, as we see the evolution of television, not just as a tool but as a concept, we also need to come back to the use of television as a means to bring communities together. More and more, we are seeing young people and not so young people living their lives here, right? I think that television as a tool allows for community, and I think that that television stations, TV, media needs to understand how important that is in an ever-changing, dynamic, scary world. We allow ourselves a space where we can share something together. World Cup being away in space right now, you know, where we share these things together, and television is a tool to be used for that.
Definitely. Now, guys, we're going to continue to celebrate World Television Day after we take a quick break and come back. We have a special celebration, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Minister, don't leave.
You know we do it like we doing it for TV. You know we do it like we doing it for TV.
Welcome back as we continue to celebrate World Television Day 2022. Of course, we have on set with us the Honorable Symon de Nobriga, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister with Responsibility for Communications. We have Nicole Duke-Westfield, Director TTT Limited. We have Nigel Sinat Singh, Director TTT Limited as well. We also have with us Acting CEO and Corp Sec, Mr. Christoph Braffett. We also have Diane Robertson, Head of Programming. We have Shamilia Thomas Ashby, who is the Head of Operations and Production here at TTT, and we continue to celebrate World Television. They have to make sure and get it all out so that we can celebrate in style. Minister, if you don't mind, doing the honors, you and Director.
Thank you very much.
I'm too close to the fire, Minister.
Ah, boy.
Oh, am I supposed to use this and you're supposed to use that? Long time in cut a cake.
Happy birthday or something.
Well, congratulations.
Look at that little piece.
You know, if I...
You can't have too big of a piece this morning, Director, because, you know...
There you go, you could
Carnival coming. Carnival coming. You're looking out for your best interest. That's a really good one. But we celebrate here at TTT, of course, World Television Day. We wouldn't be here without it, right? And we're all here to see us via television. Of course, we celebrate in fine style. We have a nice piece of cake so everybody can get a piece.
And of course, Rawkus, this is also the 60th, our 60th
anniversary as well. Well, our anniversary would have been on Independence Day.
But
and we celebrated. But definitely 60 years as a station, 60 years.
Oh, yes. But no one is going to see me acting.
We have more celebrations to happen tomorrow, guys. And I want to encourage each and every one of you as we celebrate World Television Day to go out there and make a difference today now, because, of course, together we aspire. And if together we perspire, then together we definitely can achieve. I'm Rawkus. On behalf of Kimberly D'Souza and, of course, the entire team here at TTT Limited, we wish you a fantastic day. Thank you guys so much for coming on board to celebrate with us today.
Happy World Television Day, TTT. Happy World Television Day, everyone.
All right. I'm going on for this one, just for old time's sake.
Yes.
Just for old time's sake.
We found it.